Jackson, Great Bend.
Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
We saw them this summer, and they have a really tall post that we're going to have to focus on shutting that down. And they also have a perimeter game outside, but just being very mindful on our footwork and where we are so that we can get a defensive stop.
But I thought it was really good. But when you think about the best defensive pressure here, I don't think that quite ranks up with that. But it was better. But
Avery will be the guy, and it kind of is a finish of the 2023 season with all the great seniors that are going to play in this bowl game. And then it also is a springboard to the 2024 season with Avery at the helm, and we've got a lot of skilled guys that have been really productive for us.
13 people making the subjective, not objective decision that they aren't as good anymore left them out of it. You know what happened yesterday? Football became figure skating.
Let's pretend somebody that's a head football coach in college football that went to Florida State was their head coach. Deion Sanders. They'd be in. Guarantee you they'd be in. If Deion was their head coach, and that's not a knock on Mike Norvell. The reality is it's a TV show.
Adamitis fires it back. Robbins puts it down. The kick is on its way. It is good.
We got to be able to start faster on both sides of the ball. We've got to make sure we take care of that. So whether it was the penalties on offense or whether we weren't getting off the field on the defensive side, those are things that cost us. We've got to learn from that and get better as we go forward.
Every play they start with, well, what tackle do we help? How do we protect? This and that minimizes your options, right? Your playbook is shrunk. And then who do we build the plays for outside of 87? So our playbook is even more shrunk. And I think that's the reality. Matt Nagy and Andy Reid, they're working with like a shrunken playbook right now.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome in. It is a Tuesday Sports Day show. Steve Webster with you. Mike Corson on board and Mike Hesher as we get ready to go through the program. Good show today. We'll be talking Barton Cougar basketball with the voice of the Cougars, Cole Reif. And I can't wait for this. Tim Freese, the former Lions, the Lions Lion, KU Jayhawk, Great Bend school administrator, former football coach. He doesn't know. He probably thinks I'm going to talk about him retiring, but we're just going to talk about his days as a Jayhawk. The Hall of Fame game, the Hall of Fame Bowl at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, 1981.
So I just did that story about his education retirement side. I didn't know he was a KU guy, but grew up watching him play Little Fash Pits baseball. Brutal. I think he cracked one of the bats, the metal bats.
That's what we're going to bring today.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people know. I mean, Dean Baird was a big Jayhawk. A big Jayhawk and a fast Jayhawk. So was Tim Freese. So we're going to talk to him today. Also, you're going to be talking more high school wrestling today with Gannon Reichert and talking today about the girls team. So let's get going here today. Sounds of the past 24 hours. Hoisted girls coach Trina Luters, they're off to a 2-0 start. Beat South Central last night, 53-23 at the Katy Classic. The man on the microphone, Mike Hesher.
Yes, sir. You have a question? How was it? They have 3 players in double figures on this night after 5 the opening night. They continue to shoot the basketball well, and it's...
How many threes last night?
Well, I'll be honest with you, we had some technical difficulties, as we always do, and we missed about the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game. So I was busy trying to get the equipment to work and did not able to stat the game correctly. So,
but you can go...
What did you get there 10 minutes before the game?
We were there in plenty of time. The equipment that was given to me by a certain AM host, the jack gives me trouble from the plugs into the telephone to the phone. So
what do you mean, this certain AM host? Wait, are you trying to throw me under the bus?
I'm throwing you under the bus.
For what?
So you went down to the scorebook because you knew 3 girls were in double figures. Why didn't you just look at how many threes they made?
Because it wasn't that quick. Well, by the time we're done, they're gone.
Trina Looters.
Jeez. I'm leaving.
The South Central boys defeated Houston 45-43, Mike Hesher.
And Kyle Haxton was not happy after the game. He said it was his fault. He didn't do some things right. But Houston had a 5-point lead in the last 2 minutes.
Ouch.
And South Central scored the last 7 points of the game to win it. So
Wait, tell me what you told me. Literally the first thing I walked in, I wanted to know how many the girls scored last night, but something crazy in the boys' game.
the ball hit the side of the backboard, climbed over the side of the backboard, and rolled on the top of the backboard, and then fell through the bucket.
And that was a big basket.
And that was a big basket. Well, they won by 2 points. So
How did you call the goal? And the ball rolls left to right across the backboard and drops straight through. Swish.
It more like was, did we just see what happened? I mean, because it was unusual.
Okay. You never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's going to happen again. That's why we love sports, right?
Yeah. Trina Looters, by the way, was talking about playing St. John.
Yes.
St. John girls 59-28, so it's going to be the Hoisington girls on Friday against St. John at 5 o'clock at Larned High School.
Probably, unfortunately, would be the championship game in my opinion.
Looking forward to that.
It will be fun.
Be a good test for Hoisington. St. John. Danny Smith always a very stout defensive team. They'll muddy up the water with anybody. So,
but they scored 59 points
that's
last
the
night.
scary part.
Yeah.
And they did play over the summer, like she said, and I don't remember how that turned out. But so they're familiar with each other.
I think everybody's familiar with each other anymore.
In this area, you're right.
Yeah,
I mean, with the summer ball and stuff like that, you are correct.
Okay, games tonight, Larned girls against Kinsley. That's at 5:30. That game will be on B104.3, The Point tonight. And that'll be followed by the Larned boys against Kinsley at 7 on B104, Larned fans. KU will be on Hits 106.9. Buckland girls against Reno County. Homeschool, 5 o'clock, 6:30. It's Buckland boys against Reno County Homeschool. By the way, the St. John boys also winning last night 45-40 over the Ellis Railers. Bill Self asked if that was the best defensive performance he'd ever seen from one of his teams in the first half against UConn. He said, well, probably not, but it was pretty good, especially that first half. And he wants more turnovers off of that, but still, they were pretty good. They'll play tonight, 7 o'clock. They take on UMKC, now known as Kansas City.
I was trying to think of a geological joke there, but nothing. UMKC, it's too difficult. Missouri, Kansas City.
It's just Kansas City. Yeah, Kansas.
They still the Roos?
That's what I was going to say.
They're still the Roos, yeah.
Is it Roos or Kangaroos?
I think they just go by the Roos for the most part.
What's a Roo?
Part of a kangaroo.
Tail.
Wasn't Rue the name of the girl in the Hunger Games? No, that was her sister. Yeah, okay.
One that didn't make it very far.
No, she didn't. Yeah, that was okay. K-State, they've got a bigger challenge tonight. They'll take on Villanova in the Big East Big 12 Showdown. That's at Bramlage, 6 o'clock tip on ESPN2.
Well, I want to go back. Can you do the...
What were those things called?
Mockingjays.
Yeah, the Mockingjay.
You're proud of you.
That's not.
Oh,
that,
I didn't. I had it backwards.
That's not allowed. The Mockingjay signal here at 12th and Baker. Okay, Chris Kleiman turning the reins over to Avery Johnson, your man crush. Now the man in Manhattan. Who's going to play if he gets hurt?
I asked Hesher this morning, other than his incentive to be competitive and maybe make a name for himself as a freshman, what's the incentive to go into this relatively low-level bowl game and maybe get injured?
Maybe a couple $1 million, maybe, you know.
That is now, I guess.
Yes.
But I just worry about these bowl games, and it's going to be a new roster, like Brandon Anderson said this morning, city administrator. We don't know what we're getting now with these bowl games. Everybody's in and out. So as a freshman, you would think he would want to be gung-ho about it, but are his teammates? We'll see.
Oh, I think so. You going to Orlando.
Yeah, but you get your prize bag whether you play or not.
Well, that's true. Okay, Chris Kleiman turning it over to Avery Johnson. College football playoff stuff. Mike Greenberg on ESPN yesterday. They've turned college football into figure skating.
I give that speech a 9.9.
He was fired up. Let's see. Evan Cohen saying it's a TV show, man. Don't get so riled up.
That's absolutely true, but supposedly the kids work so hard for it. We got to reward the right kids. We're going to give the financial incentive to the conferences and the schools. So it's more than just a TV show.
And he
There
said
is
if
actually
Deion
stakes.
Sanders was the coach at his alma mater, Florida State, they would have got in.
It's a pretty interesting take, and we probably would agree.
Yes, no question.
Okay, the
But they wouldn't have
Bengals.
been undefeated, I would say. You know?
The call last night on ESPN 1530, Evan McPherson, a 48-yard field goal in overtime. The Bengals beat the Jags 34-31. Trevor Lawrence sprained right ankle in the fourth quarter.
So the meme game on social media this morning, now the NFL quarterbacks are going out. Does that mean they're not going to be invited to the playoffs? Be consistent.
Fair point. Records don't matter. I mean,
It's a TV show.
It's a TV show. And it's all, what are the judges saying about their performance?
In all reality, I say, oh, yeah, Monday Night Football's on. Who's on? Bengals, Jaguars. Don't care about Trevor Lawrence. Cool Joe's not playing. I didn't turn it over. So it does have an impact.
Cincinnati keeps their faint playoff hopes alive. Andy Reid, what's, usual thing? Well, we got to work on this stuff. We've had dumb penalties and stuff like that. Got to get better. Chiefs 8-4. They take on Buffalo coming up on Sunday in Kansas City. That'll be a 3:25 kick. Dan Orlovsky says the Chiefs' offense has been trying to protect Patrick Mahomes because they have lousy tackle play, and it's shrinking their playbook.
I don't break down the plays like Mr. Clark does, but just especially late in that game, how many times was Mahomes under pressure where he was forcing throws, and
We
how
got
big a
sacked
factor is that?
That's what it comes down to. I remember when it used to be 3rd and 20, you think, okay, he's going to get it, and that's what he's doing now to make big plays. He's
With
having to
his
scramble.
feet. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, that pocket collapses and somehow he breaks free, which I don't recall seeing the last 2 years.
Teams are not having their ends rush up the field as far, because that was always the thing. They just tackle and push them out. Mahomes would cut in, move out, throw the ball. Now they're just kind of stopping a little bit out there. That's my take on that. Okay, Jeremy Fowler, ESPN, X-rays on safety Brian Cook's ankle coming back negative. I don't think he'll be back out there on Sunday.
So if you didn't see the video, and I tried to watch it on slow-mo, there's a video, or there's a photo still of it on social media today. It is unbelievable that ankle didn't break. And it's unbelievable that somebody got the photo.
Somebody got the photos. So the photos, was it like it was dislocated, right?
It looks like it's something because it's a completely unnatural angle. And I did not see that in slow-mo, so it had to have been literally a split second.
Well,
Lo and
I know
behold-
this because we had a kid that, when I played football for the Tabor College Blue Jays long ago, and we had face mask, Hesher, so shut up. We had a guy that dislocated.
Didn't work in your case, did it?
I was a one-bar guy, yeah. We had a guy that dislocated his ankle. It looked like that. It looked like it had snapped in half, or had snapped because, okay, if you look, put your foot out straight with your toes up, and then take it and move it to the right. That's what it looked like.
And I think
And
one
it
of
was
the
just-
coaches on the sideline immediately reacted. You can always tell by even if the opposing bench acts a certain way, it's kind of gruesome. Saw a little of that, so it must have been flopping around a little.
That's the hardest thing about being an athletic trainer, right? I mean, you go out and see something, and you're just not supposed to just turn around and say, "Oh God!"
No, but a lot of the finger dislocations are grotesque. The guys will just sit there and pop it back in. So you got to deal with that. I don't want to touch it. You want me to pop it back in?
No, it's broken. But anyway, there you go. Sounds the past 24 hours or so. Let's see. Oh, Heisman Trophy finalists have been announced. LSU's Jaden Daniels. Florida State beat them, I believe, by 20 points. Oregon's Bo Nix. How'd Penix get in there?
What?
Michael Penix Jr. So, and then the fourth one is Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State. So the deal was, if Ohio State did not complain about not getting in the college football playoff, that Marvin Harrison Jr. will win the Heisman.
think the odds are Daniels or Penix. I think Bo Nix shot himself in the foot a little bit late.
Pretty much. Arizona, number 1 in the men's college basketball poll. KU back up to number 2 right now. Let's see. Houston, number 3. So the Big 12 has 2 and 3 in the poll. Purdue, 4. Gonzaga, 7. North Carolina, 9. And Duke is back in the top 25.
Is that Kelvin Sampson at Houston?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Ohio State's Kyle McCord, Oklahoma's Dylan Gabriel, Oregon State's Aiden Childs led a parade of quarterbacks into the transfer portal on the first day of the 30-day window. Arizona State's Drew Pine, Utah's Bryson Barnes, Baylor's Blake Shapen also entering the portal. McCord threw for 3,170 yards, 24 touchdowns with 6 interceptions, and people in Columbus are angry with him.
Well, Dylan Gabriel has been the man down in Oklahoma. Where's he going to go?
Oh, it's
unbelievable.
It's bowling for dollars, boys. Bowling for dollars. There you go, some of the headlines from the day. Anything breaking out there? It's okay. Very good. Cole Rice is going to come from Barton basketball. I can't wait to talk to Tim Freese. And we're talking wrestling today as well, girls wrestling with Great Bend Panther coach Gannon Reichert, all on Sports Day here on KVGB.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Amy Herrera, Regional Retail Manager for your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many people navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you how we're committed to serving you in our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmy's, make it happen.
Somebody's going to win $10,000 cash on December 16th. It might as well be you. Scott Dowd of Anybody. Get a stop on by Next Tech today at 10th and Grant at Great Bend and get yourself registered before 5 o'clock to be our next instant finalist, courtesy of Mater Plumbing, Heating and Air, your local Bryant dealer, and Bowery Computers. Hey, we're here with Dave again. This fiber project is something else.
Yes, it has been a long project in the making, but we're super excited about it. It's going to be great when it's all completed. We're going to have 1 gig internet connections for everyone for $69.99 a month, and that is a truly unlimited connection, so you can stream and game away all you want.
I love it. For $69.99. Come on in, find out where they're at with your part of town, and if it deals with internet or anything like that, you guys can help them out.
Yes, we can. Again, 1 gig, that'll handle just about anything you can throw at it. You'll be future-proof as you add more devices down the road.
Get in here before 5, get yourself qualified, shop it over the holidays, $10,000 shopping spree. Good luck.
He's the voice of Hoisington High School football, the Barton County Cougars, and the king of the tweeter machine. It's Cole Rife on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Cole Rife joins us now, the voice of the Barton Cougars. The transformation has been made. Football season's over. Cole Rife goes on the road. And due to his persistence, big road win Saturday for the Cougs.
That was nice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 3 years since they've won at the power plant. So 2020 was the last time they won there. So they dropped 3 straight. Obviously you would have liked to have finished that game in a little bit better fashion when you're up by 14.
But they won it.
But they won it. That was the thing.
Devastating.
That would have been really devastating if they would have dropped that ball game. But outside of the final 2.5 minutes. Well, I guess they were okay in the final 30 seconds. But outside of those 2.5 minute stretch toward the end of the game, Barton was really in control of that. I really felt like, Butler kind of struggled to execute in that game. They're good. I mean, Butler's going to be good. So that's what makes that win even sweeter, knowing that you got one of those road wins against a top team when the season comes to an end, come March, Butler's going to be at the top. I don't know number 1, 2, 3. I don't know where they'll land, but they'll be one of the top teams. So knowing that you got one of those road wins against them, that's pretty good.
It's a long season, but if you can go through a year and not lose back-to-back conference games, that's going to help. And they needed it. Cali jumped up in the rankings this week. I mean, as they should have, because they remain at the top right now along with Hutch. But, man, don't lose 2 in a row. And they were able to avoid that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of torn right now with the way the Jayhawks playing now, because I don't know if it's going to be one of those, okay, hey, Cali, Hutch, Barton, Butler, they're going to sit on the top for a long period of time, or they're going to be teams that are just going to beat each other up. Like, I could see, Dodge City, I could see Coffeyville starting to get better. I could see, obviously Garden City, Cloud, or there's going to be a bunch of exchanges of losses. Like, I can't tell if we're going to have like 2 or 3 teams that are just going to be dominant, like Cali and Hutchinson are undefeated. Barton's right there, Butler's right there as well. It's kind of hard for me to tell right now, like the makeup of the Jayhawk, because I could see those top 8 or 9 teams getting after it, at least the top 8.
Cloud County, they're still getting some love. I think they're receiving votes this week. Cougars already have a road win over them, and they have a road win over Butler. Those are 2 pretty good road victories. Of course, then you have the home loss to Cali. So
yeah, you like to defend your home floor, but I mean Cali's fun. I mean that's a fun team to watch, because I always like what Donnie Jackson's been able to do, even when he was at Tonkawa, now in his 3rd year at Cali, because he always had these really good defensive teams, right? And they would muck things up. They came in here, in Great Bend last year. I think it was a 6-point game, 66-60. They're playing games in the 50s and 60s. He now has a team that has some offensive power. Like, their 2 guards, I mean, they get after 16, 17 a game. So now he still has that really good defense that makes it tough on guys. But then he has the offensive punch to back it up. He didn't have that, I felt like, in his previous 2 years. Now he has some offensive power. So Cali's going to be tough. I mean, I expect them to stay up there. Hutchinson, I think, is getting into a pretty good rhythm. Stubbed their toe against Tonkawa here in Great Bend at the Barton Classic, but since then they've won 5 straight games. They're still undefeated in Jayhawk play. But you look at the rest of the schedule for Barton to close out the semester. 2 games against teams at the bottom. You got Northwest Tech tomorrow night, and then you go to Liberal to take on a Seward County team. But I mean, the Greenhouse, you can say what you want, but like Barton in general, the men have struggled these last 2 years in Liberal, despite Seward County not having the best of records. So that's not going to be an easy game either coming up on Saturday. But man, it'd be nice to finish off that first semester, pick up a couple wins here to finish out this week, and go in with a nice solid record with just 1 loss, and potentially and stay in the top 10 of the poll. That'd feel pretty good going into Christmas.
Lady Cougars against Cali, I was very impressed. The dual V's.
Yeah, Vivian Vera.
They had a huge game in that. Lady Cougars right now, it's kind of, with Alan Clark, dealing with his health issues. Trevor was in here yesterday. He kind of talked about how they're trying to navigate around that. It would be hard not to be distracted, but they're plowing along. But they couldn't get anything going against Butler on Saturday to take advantage of the big V's down low.
They just don't have the offensive power that they had over the last few years, especially last year's team. And you can say all you want about post players, and it's really, really nice having Vivian and Vera on that lineup, but you need that really good guard. And whether it's a point guard or whether it's a shooting guard, ideally it's a point. And Bertoni's good, Grace John is good, Tatum Betcher is really improved. But they just don't have that one player that's going to make solid plays consistently and you can say, hey, go get me 14, 15 points tonight. They don't have that right now. So, I mean, having to rely on your post players is tough because, like, post players can be taken away. Like, if you pressure guards, if you, full court press.
Which is what Butler loves to do.
Yeah, if you zone it up, if you, pack the paint, post players can be taken away. And to Vera and Vivian's credit, like, they're still pretty raw. Like, these are 2 really raw players. They're really good, and they're going to be good toward the end of the season, too. But they're still, I think, kind of learning the game and the speed of the game, too. So, yeah, I think you're just missing that, one of those big guards that can go out there and get you some buckets.
Coffeyville after a surprising slow start, but
on the men?
Yeah.
I mean, they've lost some close games. I mean, they played Butler in the 50s and lost 56-51. Yeah, it's just kind of one of those teams that you know is probably going to turn around, like it's the old staple of Coffeyville and Jay Herman and what they do. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they definitely have had their struggles, but it's just one of those teams. Like, I mean, Cloud's in that boat, Garden City's in that boat, where you know they're still really athletic.
It seems like the conference is getting bigger.
As far as good teams?
Well, I mean, more size. I mean, you go back a few years, everybody's kind of the same. You know, no one had, you had a 6'6" guy who was like your post. And I think Jeremy Combs seemed like he started bringing in 6'9", 6'10", and now everybody's getting some of those guys now.
Yeah, I remember years ago, Colby would have a couple 7-footers from Egypt, and I think it was Rusty Groffel that was the head coach back then. He would always have a couple of big post players. Yeah, then it went away, and then you would see people that would have them, but they would play like 5 minutes. Like Hutch would always start some guy out there, and he would get the jump ball, and then he would pick up 2 fouls, and then he'd go sit down. And you would have like Butler had a 7-footer, Christian Richardson, and he got into foul trouble. I think he played a total of 6 or 7 minutes and fouled out. So yeah, it's just some of those guys, you can attack them pretty easily, and that's what Leger Jones was able to do against Richardson and the rest of the guys down there. So yeah, I think you're seeing a little bit more effective post players, but man, I think that ideal range for a post player in the Jayhawk is like 6'8", 6'9", maybe 6'9".
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there's been some really good ones that have been shorter than that too.
Leger Jones. I'm going to get with Jackie Jones and see if he's got my cassette tape from that.
He's hanging around, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to go talk to him on Wednesday and see if I can get my cassette tape back. We're going to get him on the show. That was quite the season when he and Kenny Williams were together, so looking forward to that. So, good crowd last Wednesday. Hope we can see the same coming up.
Yeah, I think so.
Night.
I mean, anytime you're ranked in the top 10, that kind of builds the interest. I still, going around, Butler had a really good crowd Saturday. I was impressed for Saturday afternoon games.
Really?
Now, both their teams are top 10. Butler men were number 9. They dropped to like 16 or 17 this week. The women are number 3 in the country. So when, you have teams that are close to undefeated and in the top 10, you're going to draw a lot of fans. But I've always said Barton's one of the best. And people can make the case of Hutchinson. I don't know. Hutchinson, like the sports arena is so big, it's spread out. It's hard to gauge. Like I would love to just see the Hutch crowd and just pour them into Kirkman and see how it looks, because it's hard for me to gauge when I go to a game of Hutch because it's so spread out. It looks dead. And
exactly.
But they travel well. Obviously the short trip to Great Bend, they always do well. But I think Barton's right there. If they're not number 1, they're in the top 3 consistently in my 10 years or 11 years of doing games. That their attendance is really good.
Cole, appreciate it. Have a good call tomorrow night.
All right.
See you out there.
Have some good questions for Freeze, all right?
Well, his Mr. Freeze to you.
Mr. Freeze.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, tell him I apologize. I gave his daughter a hard time in school because she was a Jayhawk fan. Now I feel so. I was like, "Why are you such a big KU fan?" And then I think sometime like there's a bunch of us that went over to their house, and I saw these Jayhawk pictures.
He was stud.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, your dad played. Okay, never mind. You can be a KU fan. I won't give you a hard time anymore."
Cole, thank you. Cole Reif with us here on Sports Day. Tim Freese joining us here on the show after this.
Love your phone but tired of your current provider? Bring your device to Nextech Wireless and experience wireless built by Kansans for Kansans. For a limited time, get 4 lines with unlimited data for $100. Have questions? Call or text our local customer care team at 877-621-2600. Nextech Wireless. Home on the range.
Get started with a career in healthcare through Barton Community College's Pharmacy Technician program. Gain the skills you need to assist pharmacists with the day-to-day demands of a pharmacy. Classes are 100% online and include real-world experiences at a pharmacy near you. Join this essential field in as little as 2 semesters with the flexibility of online classes. Now enrolling. Learn more at pharmtech.bartonccc.edu.
Get the power you need for your farm equipment. The power of peace of mind that dependable Cenex lubricants deliver. With decades of proven off-road performance backed by the industry-leading Cenex Total Protection Plan warranty. Cenex heavy-duty diesel engine oils, hydraulic fluids, gear lubricants, and greases are formulated to provide superior protection for load-bearing equipment. The power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor, today.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Back on Sports Day today, it's brought to you in part by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend and in part by Equity Bank. No ATM fees nationwide. Learn more at equitybank.com. I'd like to welcome into the studio my former color man for the Great Bend Panthers, the Dirty 30, back in 1987, I think that was the year. Tim Freese.
Hi, Steve.
Good to see you.
What an introduction.
Yeah, what an introduction. That was a fun year coming up here, and we got off to a 3-1 start and then didn't win any games for a while, but, yep.
We've been there before.
Yeah, we've been there. All right. Congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
I mean, all the guys that are my age are all retiring, and I'm still, me and Hash are just coming in here and just
to be clear, Steve, I haven't retired officially yet.
Okay. Oh, you haven't.
I'm not a roadie, retired on active duty yet.
Okay. You haven't put your pack down then, right?
Sure. Haven't put my feet up yet.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to jump right into it. These are things I want to find out about.
Oh, boy.
Talk about some of your teammates and the guys you played with at Lions.
At Lions?
Yeah.
Well,
you guys had some studs over there.
Well, they were all younger than me. I was the oldest of the group. I graduated in '78, and of course Donnie Campbell and Mark Hundley were 1980. They were sophomores when I was a senior.
Uh-huh.
Kent Teeter was in that group. Darryl
I
Thornton.
forgot Kent Teeter was on there. Okay.
Darryl Thornton was a junior. He went to North Texas State the year after I went to KU. Campbell and Hundley both went to that other school, well, K-State. I know, I won't say K-State. McInnes went to K-State. So, yeah, McInnes threw the javelin, and I threw the javelin also.
And you threw the javelin at KU then, eventually.
Yes, sir.
Did Bud Moore recruit you?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He was my freshman year. He was our head coach my freshman year.
And that was because, yeah, he kind of lost Nolan Cromwell, and the wishbone didn't work as well anymore.
He was Bear Bryant
assistant,
and he came to KU, and it was wishbone, and when you don't have Nolan Cromwell, it doesn't work so well.
When did you? Okay, so you got to KU at your freshman year. It would have been 78 then,
uh-huh.
And it was for Bud Moore. You played 1 year, right?
Yes.
What was it like to play for Don Fambro?
It was really fun because he was the head coach, but he was just the figurehead. You know, you had your offensive coordinator, your defense coordinator that ran everything, and he was just obviously a very people person. But the best thing about him was he was as good a motivator as you could get when you're talking about, Hayton, Missouri, and telling the Quantrell's raid stories. When you hear that when you're 18 years old and you go up there and you tell them you ain't gonna let them come over and rape your women and children at this place, like they did 100 years ago. It's like, oh, this is pretty serious stuff, So it was kind of fun. He's a good guy. He was a great guy to play for.
Talk about your offers you had coming out of high school, Tim.
I didn't have a whole lot, honestly, at that level. Oklahoma State and KU and K-State actually were the three that had actually talked to me about coming. I had of course, being from Lions, Jim Crost was at Sterling, and he said, why would you want to go to a big place like that and be a little fish in a big pond when you can come over here to Sterling and play football, basketball, baseball, and track, do all four? And I said, I have no desire to go to any place but KU because they're the ones that offer, and they're the biggest.
Were you a KU fan growing up?
Of course, my dad's from Ransom, and so Cromwell and my cousins were all friends.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my dad was from Ransom, and so that connection. But it was more just I just liked the style and the way he was, and I just liked KU. So yeah, growing up, even watching the KU basketball, I enjoyed that.
And then you get up and you're playing Big 12. Tell me about the game against Oklahoma State. Game turned out to be a tie.
Yeah.
You recovered 2 fumbles and recognized a fake punt in that game that Oklahoma State had run the year before.
I wish I could take credit for all of those things. I did those things. You're right. But and I was actually Defensive Player of the Week that week of the Big 8 because of that game. But I wasn't very talented.
You were
just
captain
played.
of the team your senior year.
I was
right?
captain this senior year. I just played. It's like I taught my daughter when she was 11 years old and I was coaching. I said, when you step between the white lines of any sport you're playing, you play as hard as you can, period. It doesn't matter anything else. You just play as hard as you can. That's all I could do. I wasn't very good.
Where'd you get that from?
I don't know.
I mean, growing up, obviously.
I just did.
I'm doing this. I know you because you're a humble guy. I think a lot of people don't even know because you're not out there, blowing the bell and everything. I just think it's really, really cool.
Well, it was a lot of fun playing it, but how they say the sun set, it set on me a long time ago. So
let me live my life.
I'm 63, not 23. You're 20. So
you guys went to a bowl game in '81.
Yeah,
beat K-State 17-14, and then went to a place. So we went to South Carolina this summer. You know what I got off the road to do? My wife was really happy about this. We got to Birmingham. I said, we've got to go by Legion Field.
Yeah.
And that's where you guys took on Mississippi State without your quarterback.
Yep. Frank got hurt, and Steve Smith from Emporia played. Was our quarterback. Darren Green fumbled the opening kickoff, and they had the ball on our 5-yard line, scored the first play of the game, and 7-0. And they kicked the field goal in the third quarter, and that was it, 10-0.
10-0.
That was the game.
What was the bowl experience like in those days?
It was great. It's hard to explain how you can. I don't even know if I should say it on air, but how you could. They treat you like you're royalty, obviously.
Yeah.
But they give you everything of course they have the barbecue here, and they have free beverages that you probably shouldn't be consuming during those times, and you're sitting right next to your coaches that are doing the same thing. It's like, this just doesn't feel right, but it was enjoyable. At 20 years old, it was pretty enjoyable.
I mean, to look back, that was a heck of an experience, and obviously you got a good education too. So
well, and that's the thing. It paid for 5 years of education. It paid for 5 full years because I redshirted a year. So I couldn't ask for a better experience for that.
Tell me about your family. I mean, just because Brian was, he finally, after 3 years when I was doing hoisting games, finally gave me stats, so I'd got past that first hurdle, that he trusted me that I wouldn't take him over to Haxton and say, here you go. And, but, you got a coach in there. I mean.
Okay, I had 2 older brothers, and then Brian was my younger brother. So
okay.
There's 4 of us. Vince was the only one Vince is here in town. He didn't actually go to college, but he's the one that's worked the longest in all of us, obviously, because he's the oldest. But Mark was a baseball player, All-American baseball player at Sterling College as a center fielder, and he was older than me. Then I went to KU, and then Brian went to Bethany. And, Brian was probably the better athlete of any of us, to be honest with you. But we just grew up just terrorizing the neighborhoods and playing every sport that there was. We didn't have traveling sports or anything. We just played.
I wouldn't want to work that hard as much as they put into it today. So
I don't know that I could do all that they're doing these days. I'm trying to as a grandpa, and I'm not sure I can handle it. But I sure enjoyed it as a kid.
Well, great career at KU and Lions High School, and then you get out. So what got your interest in education?
Well, when I was a junior in high school, I decided I wanted to coach. I wanted to be a part of something like that. So I figured, well, if you're going to coach something, you probably ought to be a teacher. So as a junior in high school, that's what I wanted to do from that point on. So when I went to KU, when I graduated that spring after my last track season, I was given the opportunity to be a grad assistant with them. And so I was going to stay there. I was on the search committee for the coach that when they fired Don Fambro. So I was on the search committee at KU to hire Mike Gottfried. And then he offered to have me as a grad assistant. Well, long story short, I made 3 trips from Lawrence to KCI to pick up athletes that were coming in my own car on my own time, and I thought, I don't think this is really what I want to do. And Don Duncan from Great Bend called and said, hey, we have a PE opening and an assistant football coach. He called up to the football office and he said, is there anybody there that's graduating with a PE degree that wants the job in Great Bend? And I turned it down because I said, I don't want to go home. I want to stay up in the big city. And my third trip to KCI, I called him from the airport, said, is that job still open? And it was, and I came out that next day, and I hired me 2 days later. So here, and I've been here ever since.
Eventually you get into administration.
Yeah, and I just felt like that was a natural progression. I mean, I was teaching elementary kids, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the first 13 years here as a teacher. You know, I worked with the special ed kids and also with the regular ed kids in PE, and I loved every minute of that. But it just felt like it was something just more in tune with what I was wanting to do.
We hear today that kids are different today than they were back in our day. You know, they were saying that when we were in school too, but they change.
You know, it probably depends on your perspective. From my perspective as a principal, I would say that our kids are better now than I would have been, possibly, when I was in school. But that's a majority thing. It's not. You know, I can give you handfuls of stories of kids that aren't so nice, but overall, I think our kids, you know, you and I, when we grew up, Mike, we always, you know, we had to do everything the hard way. You know, we didn't have air conditioning, we didn't have this, we didn't have this, and now they have everything handed to them, and they don't do the work. It's just different, is all it is. They're the same. I had a coach tell me, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm just rambling. I had a coach one time tell me that the only difference between elementary kids and high school kids are when an elementary kid hugs you, they wipe snot on your thigh, and a high school kid wipes it on your shoulder. They all need the same things. And that was the same thing. That was 35 years ago, so it's the same.
What has social media done as, you know, dealing with kids and what they have to deal with today?
That's going to be the big difference maker. It's the worst thing it's the best thing. You know what they say, technology is the best thing, and it's also the worst thing. It's so bad sometimes. The way you can bully somebody, the way you can, the information gets out so much quicker, and it's not all good. But then that's coming from an old fogey, you know. That's, you know.
Well, no, I wouldn't.
I've crossed over from being one of them to one of those guys, you know, the dinosaur type things. But I think the social media has really hurt our kids in that respect. Just the way they treat each other sometimes. It's easier to hide behind your thumbs than it is to sit here and call you a name. I can blast you with a million others just by my thumbs.
Well, I don't know if people said too many things to you, but, you know.
Oh, yeah. You know. I would have been one of those saying things to most people, unfortunately. Yeah. So,
Tim Freese joining us right now. Man, what a fun ride. I mean, you got to kind of look back and say, you ever say, man, I'm the luckiest guy alive. I mean, I've got to do a lot of cool things.
I have been pretty blessed. You know, it's going to sound odd to somebody that knew me 40 years ago or knew me 50 years ago or even 30 years ago. But God has blessed me with more than I've ever deserved.
What will you miss?
I'll miss the people. I'll miss the people that I work with. I won't miss some of the things that went on, like this past weekend on the game, after the game. I won't miss those types of people, the way they treated the other people. But I will miss the people that I work with.
Yeah. You had a firm presence at the end of the game the other night.
Well,
you stood tall.
When you're 300, it's easier to have a firm presence than it is when I was, no.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to enjoy life with my wife and my grandkids and my two daughters. See, I got in trouble a week ago or 2 weeks ago when I announced that I was going to retire. I told Mike Corson that I was going to spend time with my wife and grandkids. And then I emailed my daughters and said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave the two most lovely girls in the world out, but I'm sorry. I left you out. So I'm going to spend time with my wife, my grandkids, and my daughters and sons-in-law.
That's perfect.
Haven't forgot any of them.
Co-host of Sports Day. Also, Aaron Clark will find out that you were my color man at one time, so he'll probably want to kick Wetzel out.
I'm going to be the shot clock guy next year. I heard I'm the next guy in line for that.
Did I get the shot clock guy?
Did I I got a little rise out of him. See?
Well, I was talking to Westerhouse the other day saying
that's why I threw that in there.
I don't get to be the shot clock guy.
I just threw that in there just to rile you up a little bit.
I've always wanted to be the guy that had two mops going down the court.
Yeah.
I'd start there. I just want you to be part of game day, you know?
There you go. Well, I'll talk to him about it.
Okay.
See if we can't get you on there.
It's all about who you know, Hesh.
That's right.
It's who you know, buddy. Tim, congratulations, and thanks for taking care of our kids.
I appreciate it, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
My son tells me he was actually in the office one time. He was scared to death. Don't mess with him now. He's a drill sergeant.
I would say I remember it. I would remember all that. But I have kids come up to me all the time saying, Mr. Freeze, yeah, what? I don't even remember your year now.
You don't have one of those. You never dealt one of those over on the wall that's hanging there.
No, we never had to get.
Yeah, that's my dad's. So, yeah, my name's on it, too. So, anyway, there you go. Tim, thanks so much.
I appreciate it. Thanks,
Tim
Steve.
Freese joining us, principal at Great Bend High School. Mike Corson on the prowl coming up next. Great Bend Panther Wrestling.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB Great Bend and 95.5 FM K238CK Hoisington.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Mike Corson joined once again by a new Panther wrestling coach, Gannon Reichert. Coach, today we're going to talk some girls wrestling.
Yeah, let's get to it. It's good to be back here.
Yeah, and obviously the boys haven't done quite as much this year, but the girls already one tough tournament under their belt this weekend at McPherson. Third place finish behind a couple powerhouses in 5-6A would be Junction City and Capon. How'd you feel about them as a team this weekend?
Yeah, I was really happy with our girls. You know, we talk about that third place finish, and we're still kind of getting our roster lined up to where we want it. I know we had some point scorers getting beat by our non-point scorers, and one of our non-point scorers ended up getting second in the tournament, so they didn't even score us any points there. So stuff like that, hammered out and ironed out, would make us look a lot better team-wise.
Yeah, I think we started just about every week with Coach Brockelman last year talking about Daisy Gomez. So preseason, she enters the season ranked number 1, but without even wrestling, she kind of got bumped to number 2 because somebody, I think, changed a weight. But she made pretty quick work of her opponents to win at 130 pounds. What's her outlook this year?
Yeah, she better get back to that first place ranking, and you know those rankings are just that rankings and outlooks, but I expect first place finish from Miss Gomez there.
And then the other one, sophomore Kaylee McMullen, unranked entering the season, which is a little bit shocking. I think she was ranked for a lot of last year. Easily wins the 125-pound bracket. Kind of same boat for her?
Yeah, like I said, coming in new, I haven't seen these girls wrestle a whole lot, but I was, pleasantly surprised watching her at the tournament Saturday, and I expect some pretty high finishing from her.
And so you weren't around last year, but I was out at regional competition in Dodge City. Kira Stevens, kind of an ugly arm break, ended her season. Boy, was I thrilled to see that she responded well. She was at 170 Saturday, and what'd she do? She made it to the finals.
Yeah, and that's the one I was talking about. She was our non-point scorer going in. She was looking at doing 155 for the week, and as we got near, she wasn't going to make that weight cut, so she bumped up, and unfortunately at that late she had to go to the JV spot. But, yeah, she wrestled very well Saturday, and I expect her to make it to the varsity squad. At what weight exactly, I'm not sure. I expect her to find a spot.
I think that 170-pound bracket at McPherson had, 4 Great Bend kids in it. Feel like that gives you a lot of freedom to play around in that type of weight with where those kids go?
Yeah. Then, yeah. At 155, we had Marissa Esparza, and I don't know if this was her second year, but she made it to the finals as well, so that was kind of a pleasant surprise as well.
Yeah, so she ends up getting second, and yeah, that was a name I do believe she wrestled last year, but I was shocked to see she was in the finals. I was like, that's a great sign for Lady Panther Wrestling.
In that finals match, I think she had a ranked opponent, which she wrestled exceptionally well, and, we get a little bit more technique under her belt as well, and mat time under her belt. I think we'll see something from her this year.
Yeah, that was McPherson's 5th ranked Hunter Wilson, and Esparza took her the distance. It was an 11-2 major decision, but did not get pinned. One of the new up-and-comers, so I haven't got to see her yet, but freshman Camden Post, maybe expect her to get into some rankings. 3rd at 105, see a lot of upside with her.
Oh, yeah, she's exceptional wrestler. Has been wrestling for a while. She kind of got caught in that tournament there, put her to the backside with that 3rd place finish. I think we go a few more times with that, and it turns out a different way. But, yeah, I expect some things out of her this year.
Talking to new Lady Panther wrestling coach Gannon Reichert. And finally, maybe one more, sophomore Braylon Turner had some experience last year. Goes 2-2 at 120, but the good news is she pinned a couple kids. How close is maybe she to turning a corner and 3-1 or 4-0 on those days?
Yeah, she's looking good and coming into her own. I believe I can't have any complaints. She's starting to hold her stuff more. We'll get some more mat time with her as well, and I expect to see some higher finishing from her.
And one more for you on the girls' side. Christmas Clash is this weekend. Probably you didn't get to see it last year, but it was the first one. Got some Christmas trees, got some Christmas music. Brockelman wanted to bring in a 2-day tournament, which is rare on the girls' side. How exciting to be a part of that this year.
Oh, yeah, that's all the girls have been talking about since the start of the season, the Christmas Clash. And it's one of, if not the biggest girls' tournament in Kansas, and I know Brockelman's pretty proud of it, and he's still around to help run it, thank goodness, because it's not really what you want to walk in to run. But, yeah, the girls are super excited. I'm excited, and it should be a fun weekend.
Yeah, I believe you guys start at 1 o'clock Friday, and then I'm going to guess action resumes Saturday morning. But 2 days, and last year, and I believe this year, you're going to have several of the best teams and individual wrestlers there.
Yeah, it should be some, competition that will kind of gauge where we're actually at instead of just having those standings come out of nowhere that we were talking about earlier. And we'll have a better gauge of what we need to work on.
Coach Gannon Reichert, thanks for joining us. Good to get your first interviews under the belt, and we look forward to talking to you.
Yeah, we look forward to talking to you again this season. Thanks.
More sports day after this.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Zach Strite, commercial lender for Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC. EIC.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
There's nothing like A-STEM therapy. This is Tim Marcus from Progressive Physical Therapy in Hayes. Research shows A-STEM therapy improves muscle performance and neural functioning. It's highly effective for those dealing with tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, sports injuries, and general aches and pains.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Barton Community College helped me get a jump start on college with early college opportunities. With Barton's help, I earned my degree at the same time I graduated from high school. You can take classes on campus, online, and even at your high school with teachers you already know. With tuition rates starting at $50 per credit hour for select Kansas high school audiences and scholarship opportunities, it is easier than ever. Barton Community College helped me get one step closer to my dream, and it can help you too. Learn more at highschool.bartonccc.edu.
Welcome back. Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. Good show today. Appreciate Cole Rife stopping by and Tim Freese and Gannon Reichert. So tomorrow, Cindy Beck will be in. She's bringing a player with her. I think it's Sadie Spray, but she will be in on the show. We'll talk to Gerard Welbrock, and we'll also be talking Great Bend Panther swimming tomorrow on the show. Okay, high school basketball tonight. The Katy Classic continues. And games tonight start at 5 o'clock at Larned High School. Buckland girls against Reno County. Buckland boys against Reno County at 6:30 game. Larned plays at 5:30 tonight. Lady Indians will take the court 5:30, take on Kinsley, and then the boys play at 7. And consolation bracket games will be played on Thursday. The semifinals, winners bracket on Friday, and then Saturday we'll have the 7th place. Yeah, you may be running all over the place, Hesh. That's tough when your teams split that first night of the Katy Classic, because that means...
So I'm looking at the schedule this morning going, well, we can either have the second game of the day and the next to last game of the day, which gives you that 4-hour spread in between, or there could be the one girls' championship game starts at 4 o'clock and the boys' fifth place game. So that would be one of those. We finish the championship game, we pack everything up, we'll run across Chorus Street and set up in the high school and get the fourth quarter of the boys' game. So I don't know which one is better.
Gene Manuel has been pretty good at setting up equipment. He's excellent at putting it away, I understand.
He learned. Yes, I know how some of the people in this building are very particular about the way they put things away. I'm not quite that particular. Gene does a better job of packing than I do, so Gene has the job. And I also have to use the facilities right after the game as well.
So if you see Hesh limping down the stands, get out of his way.
Yeah, I'm on a mission.
Okay, and don't make him wait in line after the game's over with either. A lot of other tournaments taking place, and it's different not having Maxville and Spearville at the Katy Classic.
But I tell you what,
Spearville's hosting theirs now, and Maxville going out there. Ellenwood they are playing in a tournament at Kiowa County.
Okay.
So, and then the Central Plains, of course, they'll be involved in the Amos Morris. So
South Central reminded me so much of Maxville, the boys, the way they played. They just had.
And they're still pretty young, aren't they?
Yeah, they had. The big kid was a senior, but they have their hands on the balls all day long, deflected passes just in your face, like Cocoman and Maxville.
Yeah, exactly. So Maxville will be playing out in Spearville. We'll check the scores, GreatBendPost.com. We'll try to keep you up. Tournament weeks are always kind of crazy. And then Hesh will be back on the air. You get a couple days off here. Hoisington plays on Thursday now, so they'll be taking on Ellis. Anyway, check Great Bend Post. Hey, we're back tomorrow. Thanks for joining us here on Sports Day on KVGB.